Why am I doing this at 2:45 at 2:46 in the morning? What is wrong with me? So I've and somehow it's always with Caesar. I always talk about legendary weapons and whatever with Caesar here. I think the only time I didn't do that was I used Onu, a knife breaker, who's my huntsman. He crafted Pharos. I think that's the only time where it's been someone other than Caesar. Oh. Anyways, I don't get to talk about legendaries very often, but I wanted to talk about this one, Ad Infinitum. This is a great way to start the video. Maybe I should save this for tomorrow. I don't care. I'm still riding the high of completing this thing, so whatever. I'm going to do this right now. So let's see. Yes, I've completed Ad Infinitum, or Ad Infini, or Ad Fini. I don't know what do you want to call it, whatever it is. Believe it or not, I actually started the first part here about a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. And then because I don't do fractals very often, I promptly forgot that I was doing it. And then about 2 weeks ago, with my new guild, I realized they were saying, "Oh yeah, if you make Ad Infinitum, it's one of the easiest pieces of legendary armor that you'll ever be able to craft." I'm like, "Really?" And so I looked at the list of things that you had to do, and like, okay, yeah, that's actually not too bad. And I looked at the list of materials, and kind of the only one that I was really concerned about was, let's see, where is it? Here it is, Fractal Relics. I misread it at the time, and I thought that it was like 5,000 Fractal Relics. And I'm like, look, even if I get like 30 per day or 100 per day just doing tier 4 dailies or whatever it is, plus the recommended, it's going to take me like 3/4 of a year IRL to get 5,000 fractal relics. And I'm like, there's no way that's happening. And they're like, no, Ava, it's only going to cost you 1,500. And I'm like, well, wait. What's the 5,000 for? Whatever it is. And they're like, oh, well, maybe it's a different kind of currency. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? So, believe it or not, it did cost me like 1,500 fractal relics. And really, all that it was uh, just purchasing a couple of things here. There, let's see. So right here, this very first one, purchase with pristine fractal relics. There you go. In the Mistlock Observatory. So there were a couple of things. It's like there's 100 here, 300 here. I think one of the, I think tier 3 or tier 4. Uh, yeah, I think it was this one. It was like 500 fractal relics or something like that. Whatever. So yeah, make certain. My point is, make certain that you have a couple of fractal relics, or you have have at least 1,000 fractal relics before you start. And if you're continuing through, tier 3 and tier 4 dailies, you'll be able to build it up quickly enough. As I stated a couple of minutes ago, I already had part of this already done, but it was just sitting there for about a year and a half or so. And so I was like, you know what? I'm with a guild that's regularly doing tier 4 fractals. What the heck, how difficult can it be? Truth be told, it was not particularly difficult. There's actually a combination of things. There's things you have to buy. There's things you have to craft. For example, you have to craft this. With agony infusions, you have to purchase those, but you have to earn agony infusions just through doing fractals, period. You have to craft this prototype fractal capacitor, which means you're probably going to need an armor smith, and you're probably going to need a what's that called? A artificer. So you're going to need both of those at level 500, and you have to level those independently of just leveling your character, period. And then it's just a matter of challenge mode or moat, excuse me. There's a couple of them that are timed. And then there's other times where, like, combine fractal research pages into a completed journal, and then you take the journal to wherever it is that says, in this case, it says the end of the urban battlegrounds fractal. You take it, you interact with Ascalonian, well, in this case, the fractal field researcher. You interact with them, and they give you the thing, and boom, you get the trophy. There are some cases where it says here, Obtain the giant elemental ice core, or ice elemental core, from the remains of the giant ice elemental in Wayfarer Foothills. In other words, you have to do the world boss. And, that spawns like every 2 hours in Wayfarer Foothills. You take that into Fractals of the Mists, and then, let's see, where does it bring you to the heart of the volcano core inside of the Fractal? The relics was imbued in love. I think they're talking about they're talking about volcanic Fractal. Let's see. There's another one. Like I said, you have to craft that. This, you just need to you need to make a +4 agony infusion and then take it to the swampland fractal. And then this, I believe, this one you have to purchase with more fractal relics. The interesting thing about this one, Mitrin actually comes up a couple of times. In this particular case, you want to go to the merchant that is not at the end of the fractal, but rather when you spawn into the Mitrin fractal, that's a mouthful, you basically turn your camera around and go the opposite direction down to the waterfront. And if you navigate through the kind of sort of maze that's in there, there's an Aetherblade, it says here Aetherblade Quartermaster, and you don't have to fight. You don't have to fight any enemies on the way. You just go and you talk to them, and then they give it to you. You actually have to do this a couple of times. So it's like 2 or 3 times for the Mitrin specifically. And you can do it on any tier you want to. You don't even have to fight, at least not in this specific case. Oh, yeah, by the way, you also have to craft the backpack item at exactly the same time. So not only are you collecting all of these things through whatever means, but you're also having to craft the actual, the precursor. You can't buy the precursor. At least I don't believe you can buy the precursor for this. I could be wrong about this. Let's see. I think it's called Unbound. You have to craft the precursor as you're going. So make certain you've got. I
hope you're here to help.
Yeah, you use up a little bit of mithril, but you're going to be using up things like leather and cloth and things like that. So it's actually better to have a leather worker or an armor smith on hand, so you can craft some of those materials. Purchase with pristine. Yeah. So here's another one from the observatory. Another observatory. Challenge mode. Here's another one of those fractal research papers. You collect the research pages and then combine them into a journal, and then you take them to the end of the Molten Alliance fractal. Obtain a Vinerath tendril from the Mordrum Vinerath boss encounter in the Silver Wastes, which means you have to do the meta in Silver Wastes, and you collect a tendril from that, and then turn around and you go into the Solid Ocean fractal and you trade it to the researcher there. Let's see, Snowblind Fractal, and then do the reverse right here. So this one, you start in the Silver Waste and then you go to Fractals. With this one, you're in a completely different fractal, the Snowblind Fractal, and then you take it to Silver Wastes. And here's the second thingy there. There's another Agony Infusion, and then one of these. See, the third one's pretty much the same thing. Pristine Fractal Relics, blah, blah, blah. Now, one thing that I was uncertain about, if you'll see here, it says complete the Volcanic Challenge scale 21 through 50. That's tier 2, okay? There's some here where they specifically say, in this case, it's the Aetherblade Challenge, 51 through 100. That's tier 4, okay? So in some cases, they will specify you have to complete this specific fractal at this specific tier, okay? But then there are other occasions, even on this final stage here, where you're actually crafting the Gift of Infinity, which is the final part that I made. In this specific case, I was able to go to the Urban Battleground fractal on tier 1 for this final step right here. And I was able to do this also on tier 1. So if it does not specify what tier to do it on, you can do it on tier 1, not a problem. In this case, tier 4. Oops, wrong way. This is tier 4. No, yeah, that's tier 4. Oh, here's one. This is a weird one. The Greater Nightmare Vine in the Twilight Arbor. This is one where you actually have to go into a dungeon. You have to go into one of the explorable dungeons. No, you do not need to go to the Aetherblade wing or whatever it is of Twilight Arbor dungeon. No, you go to the explorable mode, and I think and then the one that you need, the Greater Nightmare Vine, that's a mini boss. I think in the upper path, I think is what it is. And so you take what you collect from that, and you go to the Swampland Fractal, the Mossman's hut. You don't go inside, you just interact with the front door, and then that's it. And then it says here, let's see, where is it? Consume to add to the collection. So you actually take this thing, and then you eat the jungle worm omelet, Mossman style, of course. Here's another one. You basically complete the Cliffside Fractal, okay, and you interact with a moat or something like that. I think it's a mist singularity, whatever it's called. I don't remember whatever it is. You interact with that, then you have to turn around and go to the Tomanova reactor in Metrica province and do the fire elemental world boss, and then hope that somebody else has that was it called a charged matrix key, so that you can interact at the center of the reactor, and then you do that thing where you get teleported to the top of the reactor and you have to fight another mini boss right there. That completes this step right here. So this one's actually a 3-part thing. Oh yeah. um in this specific case, purchased from the Aetherblade Quartermaster and the Katamitran Fractal for Dark Balls of Energy. Now, in this case, you're purchasing from that Quartermaster that I mentioned a few minutes ago. But then, let's see, here you also have to do My Trin on tier 4 with the timed moat going. So you have to complete the whole fractal in under 25 minutes. Let's see, there was another one I had to do. So there's like 3 where you have to do My Trin. See, I did that. Nope. Underground, Aetherblade. Okay, so this time challenge. Oh, here it is. Here's the other one. Here's the one you have to complete. So you can actually get 1, 2, and then 3. In this final step here, you have to do 3 of these things just from My Trin Fractal. So if you do, let's see, you can grab this first thing. Nope, I'm sorry. You grab this before you begin the tier 4 fractal. You can get it on any tier, of course. But basically, get this first, make certain it's on timed, and then while you're at it, make certain that you complete the fractal, and then you can buy this thing from the packed airship in the background when you complete it. So I was actually able to do My Trin 3 times last night. Some really generous folks. I was like, oh damn, I don't have the thing that I need, and so they very generously took me through that 3 times last night, and that was very lovely of them. This you purchase in the observatory. This you purchase in the observatory. So overall, not too terribly complicated. This one you have to go to an open world dungeon, which is Vex's lab, which is in, I want to say, Fireheart Rise. So basically, you go there, and it says here you interact with the remains of Old Tom in the uncategorized fractal. Or no, I'm sorry, in Fireheart Rise. I just said it right there. So you collect that, and by the way, you do not need to fight Vexa. You don't have to fight her directly. The diagnostic equipment is actually off to one side of the final boss fight. You can just go in there, interact with that, and then poof, you got what you need. So you take whatever you collect from the mini dungeon, and you take that to the uncategorized fractal, and you interact with Old Tom Golem. Once you defeat that, you interact with it, and boom, there it is right there. This I accidentally got from the underground fractal, and then you find there's a chest that you have to interact with in let's see, where is it? Dredge Haunt? Yeah, Dredge Haunt. Oh shoot, this character doesn't have it. Basically, it's the mining facility. Oh, there's part of it right here, but basically, you have to go in through the mining facility, which is right here. You go in here, and then the chest is like sitting in the corner here, whatever it is. Yeah, I'll deal with that later. You go and interact with the chest right here, and that's how you get that one taken care of. Something else I want to mention, here's the fractal capacitor infused that it mentioned earlier. Now, this I don't entirely understand. I think there's a step here that I don't understand. Because here's the fractal capacitor, okay? So you have to craft this, okay? And then I think you have to, yeah, I think that's it. Unbound. Yeah, beta fractal capacitor. There's the completed one, which is infused. And then there's that, I think. So right now I've got this fractal capacitor infused. It's just sitting there. And the only way that I was able to get this was through crafting ad infinitum. Now, so basically I've gotten not just a legendary backpack item, but I've also gotten a completely different backpack item, which I can show you right here.
Somewhere in there.
See?
He's armed to the teeth with
Now,
vials
I'm
of
not
blood
entirely
and
certain
bottles
if
of
this gets
illumination.
used in something else. I'll have to look at the wiki. So shame on me. I should have looked beforehand. But suffice it to say, that's what this thing is. And I think they basically give you two backpack items because you get the legendary and then you get this ascended version. I'm not entirely certain what the deal with that is. I'm not certain. One other thing I want to point out is that as part of the crafting recipe, I should have had this guy. I want to show. Let's see, legendary component. Spirit of the finite result obtained by salvaging the backpack finite result. So, not once, but twice, you're going to be salvaging what you've just crafted. That's deliberate, okay? So it says obtained by salvaging the backpack finite result. In other words, this. Is that right? Yeah. So you're going to craft this, okay, and you can see the skin is unlocked. Then you're going to turn around and you're going to salvage that first backpack that you create. And then you end up with this drop right here, or this trophy right here. Hang on to it, and then you can craft Bound Wings Ascended, which then gets used in Upper Bound, I think. Yeah, Bound Wings. Yeah, there's this one. Upper Bound, and then finally you craft the actual precursor, which is Unbound. And let's see if it's Unbound Wings. It should be, yep, Spirit of the Upper Bound. So there's the second time you salvage your results in order to make the actual precursor itself, which is right here. Here's the precursor. It's weird the way those twists I decided I didn't know would do that. Strange. I should have looked at that earlier. Anyways, yeah, that's it's going to catch you by surprise. You want to salvage those things. Okay? It tells you to do that on purpose. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. And so, without further ado, let's get this show on the road, shall we? Let's get these somewhere we can get to them. The Gift of Fortune, you can craft that independently. Be advised, Gift of Might and Gift of Magic, you actually craft those not with a crafting recipe, but you actually craft them in the Mystic Forge right here. So don't panic if you can't purchase them. You don't. You actually craft them inside the Mystic Forge itself. Let's give this a moment to soak here. Of course, it is 3:12 in the morning, so I don't know. Is anybody even in Land's Arch at this point? Maybe I should do this in the Miss Luck Observatory. I suppose I could do this there. I'd get a little more attention. I'll do that. Okay, what do you say we try that one again? this moment to soak. I never had any intentions of crafting ad infinitum. I just because I don't fractal very often. I'm mostly open world and story. So yeah, I can do fractals. I'm just not particularly good at them. So, eh. But hey, quick and easy legendary armor. Yeah, why not? Boy, it must be really late because like nobody's responding. Usually, there's like 4 or 5 people who say something. Eh, I'm not a vain person. Let's get this over with. I don't need the praise to do this.
More accolades.
Ooh, I like that. That sounded nice. Oh, what did that say? Oh, cool. All right. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Because I crafted. Gosh, that's right. I crafted Generation One Legendary Dagger Incinerator. I recorded part of the video, but I never finished recording the video, and that was 1 month ago to the day. I just realized I am weird. How could I craft a legendary and then like not publish the video? What's wrong with me? Okay, whatever. Log 18204. Losing transmission. Something went wrong. I'm stranded. I'm stuck in Fractal. Floating. The whole island is floating. Call themselves Forgotten. Trees. I see someone? Can you hear me? Item unlocked in your legendary armory are available for all of your characters. They can be found in the equipment tab of your hero panel alongside all of your other equipment. Oh, okay. Ah, there it is right there. Now, Caesar here. Oops, let's see. Can I? No, I guess I can't. Wait, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. There we go. There we go. So, Caesar is my. Well, first of all, he's my only guardian, but he's basically stuck in the Mistlock Observatory because actually I don't use guardian very often. I don't have much need for it. So basically he's going to be sitting over here again. Basically the only time I pull out Caesar is for crafting. That's pretty much it. Otherwise he just sits here. But there is a character that I can use, or that I do regularly use. Why did I stick him in Route Assume? What is wrong with me? Ugh. Oh, right. That's right. That's why I put him here. Okay. So, Bishop. What's he called?
Greetings.
Bishop Deathstriker. That's his name. Is that his name or is that a title? You decide. Anyways, Bishop here is the character that I've been running fractals on, and the build that I'm running is actually based off of a website that has crows that like to hang out in the snow. So, anyways, this is the character that's going to be running ad infinitum. So let's see. We just double click. We do. Yes, and then there they are. How's about that? Ordinarily, I have his backpack hidden, but if you're gonna have a legendary, why would you either A, hide it? Why would you hide it or reskin it? I never understand people who do that. That's just bizarre. Why are you wearing? Oh, right, that's why. All right, whatever. So yeah, this guy's going to be running these wings from here on out. I was questioning myself a moment ago. I was like, why the heck did I put him into? Why did I put him in the Route Assume? Well, the reason for that is because Ad Infinitum does not just give you a backpack. It doesn't just give you a backpack skin, or actually the thing, period. But it also gives you a glider skin at the exact same time.
All spatial
That's why I
parameters
put him in you.
are
Now I
registered
remember.
intelligence. We'll never get
What's the safe way to go?
Dust
Let's see.
bunnies have no interest in gut-wrenching, mind-blowing war.
We'll go this way.
The mists are too
I don't care.
explosive.
We're on the edge. Let's do it. Ooh. The kind of ironic thing about it is that there's no gliding in fractals. So the only time you're ever going to see a character use this glider is if they're not in fractals. Wait, no, that's not true. What am I talking about? No, yeah, fractals. You can't glide in fractals. I suppose I could stick it on my my ranger, who's currently being used for raids, but I think that would kind of defeat the point. Let's see, can I turn this sideways? Nope, I cannot. Okay, whatever. I like the sound of it. It's nice. It just instantly disappears. Is this the home instance? No, this is something else. Oh, right, okay. Really? Really? I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna land in this. Whatever. Okay, so that's what it looks like when it glides, and that's what it looks like when you just walk around with it. So what does it look like when you draw? Does it look anything when you draw a weapon? Ooh. So they do kind of extend.
But I'm a merchant.
I like weapons, armor, and
Everything has unfolded as I knew it would.
Sadly, the world remains a dangerous place.
One of the hazards of being a revenant, your avatars have a tendency to talk to you, or your stances. They have a tendency to talk to you randomly. Just personally, I enjoy armor and weapons that kind of extends, or it changes between when it's stored and when it's deployed. Which, by the way, is one of the reasons why I have this particular skin for my greatsword. Is because the blade shows up there, and then when you put it away, the blade disappears. So I actually like things like that. So Ad Infinitum is not so different in that regard. Oh crap, that reminds me. Oh, there's 2 infusion slots. Wait, don't they only have just one? Oh, so it has 2 infusion slots. Cool. Oops, wrong button. I didn't know that. Huh. So Legendary Backpack actually gives you a second infusion. Nice. Or second infusion slot. Okay. Okay, well, I'm glad I looked at that, because, okay, so it gives you 2. All right. Oh, I also need to select the stats. Let's see, what are the stats? Are these all Zosia's? Yeah, these are all Zosia. Okay, so... Oh, wait, why did I do that? Right-click, customize. And here is why legendaries are worth the effort. Is because you can customize them as much as you want to. Why does this say Berserkers and Valkyrie? That's strange. Are these all? Yeah, they are. So I'm going to run that. I have no idea what that means. So now, just for the heck of it, I'm going to select Assassins, okay? Just for the heck of it, okay? So I've got the stats, Precision, Power, Ferocity, okay? But under normal circumstances, if you want to customize a piece of equipment, you have to like take it to the Mystic Forge and you got to buy a bunch of other things and you lose the skin that it's currently attached to and you lose all of the things that are attached to it. Well, legendaries basically allow you to swap the stats. Okay, so it was Assassins, Precision, Power, Ferocity. Okay, and now select Berserkers, which becomes Power, Precision, Ferocity. I did that for free. That is why legendaries are so sought after. It's not just because of the stats that they offer up, but because you can swap the stats as long as you're out of combat. So that's why
Interested
people
in something
usually make
specific?
these things. Me, on the other hand, I tend to craft legendaries based more on their appearance than I do their functionality. But that's just the way I work. I think I'll wrap it up here now. And so, with that, this is AV Unit 4A saying thank you very much for tuning in.